time kind of running out, Kelly. We only have 2 games remaining.
Also, for him to do that with the loadout that he had, where he had, what, a gray pump or gray sentinel and a green AR, and to still be able to last that long and to still get eliminations. I mean, there's a reason Higgs won the solo series, and we're seeing him do that here as well.
And Viv, you called it out, right? Time is running out. 2 games left to go. Is there any advice you would give to the players right now, right? With 2 games left to go, we're looking at qualifying for EUWC or not.
Win, don't lose. There's my best piece of advice.
Oh, wow. I feel like I can't beat that, so I'm going to go with that answer.
No, Kelly, don't let him get away with that. Anyway, Fortnite fam, 2 games left to go here. Remember, we're trying to aim for the top 2. If we end in top 2, we move on directly to EWC. There's no more need for qualifiers. We're good. We're safe. If not, we're looking to go to the next qualifier. So for now, get ready because game number 7 is upon us. Casters, over to you.
You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun, and so far these 6 games have been out of this world. We're gonna be here on game number 7 with 2 chances left, Monster. It's truly anybody's game.
Yeah, our time's flying and theirs is running out. I mean, there's only a couple of games ahead of us. The standings are closer than ever. We talked about the risk taking from Peterbot and Boyer, really loosening up their playstyle. Even the last game being hyper aggressive, almost forcing the fights there, staying inside the zone, and it did not play off, unfortunately. So we'll see if they can actually find those early game elims here, Jacob.
Yeah, or at least some placement points. 16th, 10th, 16th. Those are the last 3 games that they played. They got to return back to that championship form that they're looking to compete at. Game number 7 is here. Will they return? Let's find out.
Gotta love some Fortnite here. Game 7 is in front of us. The Reload Elite series is truly heating up now. And if you're just turning in, yeah, it's different. There's 8 games, right? It's not your traditional 6. We have a bit of a longer stretch, but these games are so much more faster pace and the action never stops. These are fights that we've seen now. Everyone here, Jacob, has figured out the early game dynamics. We all know the strengths and weaknesses, but the real question is, who is going to pull through now in the final moments?
Yeah, I like the way you kind of said that, because that kind of hit me right now. 8 games instead of 6. Wasn't really thinking about one thing, and one thing truly is the mental game. How long you're playing throughout the day. It's the same time span, but you're running through games, and once you start to set down on yourself, then things can start an avalanche. But you start to feel that confidence, it could be a whole different story, and you're seeing the same continued fight from Boom and Base, the same uncontested fight over at Steamy Stacks. Cold and Rapid, they don't even necessarily loot the entirety of the POI, which is why you see later on in the game more and more teams coming over here for loot, because what Cole does is he gets his loadout and then he just runs for eliminations.
Look at this, Jargo and King talking about teams catching early game fast elims. Got this one happening right there, and Josh is down and out. Yamzo here just trying to pick up the broken pieces, figuring out what all went wrong here. He's on the side of the mountain too. What a desperate spot to be in. Pinched between Arc and team as well. And look, they're going to be happy, content to just keep farming them out the sky, most likely.
Ooh. Yep, just on the tail end. I was even thinking right now, even if King and Jargo don't get the elimination, he's rotating into somebody else's territory regardless. So this is gonna be tough. And I think Jargo and King kind of have the right thing in their mind. In earlier games, we have seen players kind of chase around the solos. They assume, which is right, that Iamzo is boxed up right there. As long as they don't push Iamzo out of that position and continuously get the elim on a Josh, they will respawn there over and over and over for 3 free points as long as they can close out that elim.
Take a look at this though. Yellows Demon tries to make a big play, but no, Rapid too quick on the trigger here. Turns things around, and it just shows you what happens when you are in top form. And we talked about the mental game. They are feeling good right now, and I got to give them a lot of credit, because when you looked at game number 1, how things just went south, all of a sudden they are figuring things out, and the adjustment coming out of that first round is really showing off. Peterbot and Boyo, we doubted them a fair bit off of that last game aggression, but look at this. They're clawing back into it. 2 more elims picked up now.
Yeah, and it's basically both on that same player as well. When you got something that's working, you don't need to fix it because it's not broken. It's Clicks and Higgs. Again, you see them stretching out. But this time around, instead of going for elimination, Higgs setting up to try to get that drop. And one thing that we're talking about is the eliminations. Cold and Rapid have been farming a team over there game after game after game. Acorn and Bolts, I mentioned that they have not done that one singular time. They haven't even been rebooted at all in this entire tournament. And it's 11-point difference. Again, Monster, it could come down to eliminations.
Good rule of thumb right here. So when you have any advantage, you press on it. Shadow and Virgo breaking the norm here. Remember, they were hiding game after game, and this time they're like, wait a second, we have an opportunity to turn off some big eliminations, and they take full advantage of it, and they find Paper here. There goes the finish. And you know, we were giving them that description of, hey, this is a team that's just keeping a low profile, but it seems like now it's time to pop out and play the game. Paper, though, getting targeted by Lawrence there. And, oh, look, caught by Stiff. Back into the hands, potentially, of Virgo, though, now. He falls his way into the warehouse here. We'll see who ends up securing the Elim. There it is. Virgo does get it in Shadow with the finish. They didn't even expect that, Jacob. But, look, gifted with a second one now.
Yeah, and that's for the first time today. That stat showed up about Acorn and Bolts not rebooting at all. Paper and Resi was that second team to have not rebooted, and then now Paper goes down twice. All good things do come to an end as Peterbot gets another elimination onto Vlex, just keeping things going for them. And honestly, with how much of a lead they've had in this tournament so far, coming into Game 7, the first time on the day not having that lead, and honestly, everything is going sideways because even Bolts finds himself getting elimination early, and you're seeing that, I wouldn't call it desperation, but every single trick is now being unleashed in these last two games because you don't want to look back at a tournament like this saying, hey, I wish I would have done something different and have those regrets.
Yeah, Bolts and Acorn was a team that was being super non-confrontational for their first 7 games, but this one just seems like you couldn't avoid it. Bolts find himself at 13 HP off the respawn here. Just an AR in hand. What do you do? What can you do here?
It's not much because you can't even wait for the zone. You have such little HP. Gotta hope to find some bandages or something as Yamzo does go down for the first time here in this game. Josh, though, able to get alive. And I spoke about earlier about how Cold and Rapid don't loot their whole POI. Josh and Yamzo were one of the few teams that have consistently rotated from their contested boom and base drop to the back end of Steamy Stacks to try to pick up that loot. And now their position, though, is going to be given away.
Just jumping back into kind of Josh's perspective here. Very strong loadout. Ambush possibly looking to kind of take shape here, but Yamzo is way out of position and hurt here as well. Acorn falls now too. Okay, wait a second. This is terrible. We already know Bolts barely had anything to play with, but Acorn getting caught out. The entire plan just seems to be crumbling here.
I'm not going to take credit for that curse. It was the quick stat curse, man. Both of the teams that have not been rebooted all day long are having struggles in the 7th game. Bolts finally finding a moment here, not only to get rebooted, but you see him at the back end of that dock. He's going to start his fishing journey. That's something they do in their actual BR mode as well. So again, a lot of those tricks coming out. Acorn finally hits the ground, gets a shotgun, even a chance to heal, but they're hot on the heels. Jace with a monster shot to get Acorn's HP down low, but neither one of them really have any HP to regain outside of Aloe, so Acorn is going to go down to the zone itself.
He thought about it, tries to make a fast escape there, used the shockwaves, but Oliveira has 3 med miss, so even if he wanted to, he's got the battle on his side here. Definitely favorable terms right now for Oliveira and Jace. Meanwhile, Bolts is just sticking to the strategy of keeping a low profile right now, staying alive for as long as he can to see if Acorn can just manage to find his footing here so he can bounce back in this game. On the other side, completely different story, right? Slurpy Swamp finally back in control for Peterbot and Boyo. They're up at 3 elims. They have plenty to work with, and this time they are converting on the points for the elims. So easily here and now, you're watching them just close the gap.
It's kind of what they do best, especially during their major 3 win. Almost a perfect scenario in terms of eliminations and actually winning the game to come out on top in that tournament. Just not wanting it to come down to that in the last and final game of the day, and that's why you see them consistently trying to pick up the pace. If they're going to win or lose, it's going to be at decisions that they made throughout this tournament. rather than lack thereof, as Pollo continues to look where Vlex is out, spots him out. He continues to try to create a little bit of distance with the shockwaves, but they have mobility of their own, crash pads, and they're immediately beeline like a fridge to a man. They're sticking.
Yeah, Pollo is precisely the reason why you don't want to come to Slurpy Swamp. He is on you like white on rice here. There it is. There goes the finish. My gosh, 4 elims now. And you know what they're going to do. They're going to stick around, and they're likely going to just try to do their best to farm this duo right here. I don't even think they want to finish it, right? They're going to let them get to the edge of zone. They're probably going to push that first box they see. This is a team that is, highly tactical when it comes down to making the fight back into the tournament, right? We know Peterbot's championship mentality. He will never give up.
Yeah, and they have launch pads on top of their buildings. They have the Flowberry Fizz. So even without shockwaves or crash pads, which they're going to have them, but they can easily make it in towards zone with little to no worries. As we jump on board Shadow and Virgo, 254 points. With those 2 eliminations so far, they're just not only putting themselves in a position to where they have that extra loot, but they're just rising up that leaderboards as well. But unfortunately enough, 3rd place right above them is Peterbot and Pollo. So every elimination they get, they just kind of have to match.
I'm gonna watch it go down here for Bolt and Acorn. This is, oh, whoa, look at the loadout. I see a golden fish in there.
Who needs a pump when you got a golden mythic goldfish? It one-shots builds, man. If you play your cards perfectly, I think this could work out for Bolts. You're seeing the abundance of extra med kits, so he has no plans to move to zone as of now.
For someone who came in with a great AR, we were literally questioning life at that point. How is he gonna come back? He's got the mythic fish. I think his stars are aligning here for us, y'all. So if they come back, we know why. He's just blessed. We'll see. Paper, Resi getting back to it. So from a team being never rebooted in the game, remember this is the first game they do fall early. Has it pushed them out of the game? Doesn't seem like it. They seem to really gather themselves back into this fight here, and I appreciate the fact that they're still in the running right now. When you look off to the side though, Clicks and Higgs in a much better position here. Loadout's looking exceptional. They can make a lot of moves here.
And you see them even trying to steal away elimination. As we're seeing again, Vlex is
I knew it.
It's just unfortunate. Again, this is just kind of the way the Reloaded Elite series is going to work. It's the way Reload works in general as this game continues on further and further. Zone 4, Zone 5, Zone 6, for example. Reboots are still on. You can get back into the game, but probability is a whole different story.
Yeah, you can see in the feed there, Peterbot just back to back on Vlex there, the finish, the knock, to pick him up. I mean, he's just making it shake right now, and it's paying off. He is slowly gaming the system here to catch those points that he needs to just fly his way back up. Look, 286 down in the bottom left. They're at 7 elims now. Right? This is what they wanted to do last game. They didn't quite find the execution, but this time, give him a second chance. You say 3rd time's a charm. He doesn't even need it.
Yeah, and you kind of saw in that replay as well, that big launch pad that they do have. They see King and Jargu rotating right next to him, and instead of competing for position, they immediately drop down below saying, hey, we're going to take the spot we want. You can have whatever's left over, but they inadvertently put themselves into a target for a quick couple of seconds. Multiple teams spraying over in that direction. Thankfully, the dust settles. The med mist smoke does go down, so Pollo's going to have a chance to heal up here. Zone hasn't moved yet, so they're just actively trying to get ahead of the curve.
Like what we're watching on play here. Genji's Ager Ritual right now against Twisted Mind, Bolt, and Acorn. Might be setting ourselves up for a really big fight here. You keep in mind, Zone 7 here is closing. There's no more coming back here. This is do or die now. Bolt and Acorn, great rotates around the outskirts here. Look at the material count, Jacob. Extreme. And he catches the throw. I was just going to say, you got to do something big. And Bolt just whacks him upside the head. But no, in comes the crash pad from another team. Acorn's down and out. He needs the finish, and it doesn't come in time.
Uh-oh, 2nd place is now down and out of the game. Monster, I was thinking for a second, almost laughing to myself, he doesn't even have a shotgun, but he tried to make it work. He even re-picked up the goldfish. One hit the wall to actually get the elimination, so at least he's able to get points for his efforts in this game. So huge plays being made by Agers as well. He gets the knock onto Acorn. He sees a team making a desperate play and quickly capitalizes to take advantage.
They wasted no time, and it was just, they were just too close as well, right? Like, things just lined up for them so perfectly there. But hey, you live, you learn. It was a good try, and that is by far their poorest performance here so far. So, you know, everyone gets one, and that's going to be their game. It's going to be a game 8 race for them now. For everyone else though here, Jacob, I mean, the moves are on. Iamzo and Josh still trying to fight their way back into the conversation here. Curve and Sin doing the same as well. Big 7 elims, look at that. They are very much in the battle here.
Yep, 21 points through eliminations. Still need 3 teams to get down, though, so they can start collect those placement points. But for Cold and Rapid, they already know what's in front of them. One of the best teams that we've had, one of the most consistent on the day. 322 points and counting. You see the 3 shockwaves in their inventory as a just in case, but now Cold is getting pressured. Agers and Ritual, they get the wall, they get the control, and they get the elimination onto Cold. Now Rapid is left by himself. We already have second game down and out, and now we have first place playing it out as a solo, all before placement points have come in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure we've even seen Rapid have to play a full solo this far out, like 15 duos out. As we know, it's just chaos in the end game. It is incredibly difficult to get to that placement point threshold. And Shadow has the same problems here. We highlighted this team's ability to stick together, keep a low profile, but no, it seems like that has not worked out for them so far.
Yep, already, like I said, second place out. We got first place as solo, fourth place as solo. So this is a chance to start to pick up those points and really close the gap before our last and final game of the day. As Jargo and King, they solidify their high ground, but there is a team down below. They're trying to pressure, and that's why they use that chance with the Flowberry Fizz to drop down ahead, reconnect themselves at the front side, and reclaim that high ground.
Yeah, Fizz coming in clutch right there, allowing them to not take any of that fall damage. Use that momentum to really, you know, build a nice foundation there. Rapid, though, on your screen right now is by himself here. He's got a lot of material, but he seems to be trapped. I don't love this spot that he's in right here, and I don't think he does either. Yeah, there it is. He backs off a little too close for all of our likings here. Gonna go on and stick around, gives himself a little bit more of that kind of mobility in the final moments. Lawrence and Batman Joe go for high ground, though, and they're the new guys up top. Meanwhile, Shadow's playing deep in the zone off the med miss.
Yeah, this $1.5 million up for grabs throughout the qualifier process. They want a piece of that pie. Iamzo and Josh want it as well. With a couple big eliminations here at the end, they can close that gap and at least give themselves a shot at first place. But for Batman Joe and Lawrence, it's about rising up the ranks. They've already seen teams go from last to inside of the top 15. They want that to be them. Peterbot and Poyo want to reclaim their first place spot, and you see them pressure that team outside of the zone. He's able to get out safely, but for Peterbot and Poyo, the damage has been done. Huge flank onto them. Poyo taking most of that damage, but they quickly reposition.
This is Shadow's moment right here, too, in the bottom right. Look, he finds himself at med miss, and he's inside the storm. He has barely got anything to work with. He's gonna have to give it up. He might actually just fall here. Meanwhile, Peterbot still fighting through, too. He finds another Elam here. That's a refresh for him. They're at 8 now. They're back in it. Top 10 situation unfolding here. Clicks and Higgs flying in from outside the zone. Where did they come from? Boyo's down and out, and it's up to Curve here, who actually dropped his teammate. But Peterbot has to sacrifice Boyo potentially right now.
Yeah, that's all you can do. You can't be the hero, especially with only one build, but he's looking back, finding elimination opportunities. Unfortunately enough, he gets taken down by Clicks and Higgs, who get their 3rd elimination of the game. Slow and steady wins the race, and they're hoping that's them, but there's 4 teams left. All of the teams fully intact as duos, so nothing is going to come easy, but right above them is King and Jargo. You see them using their mobility to try to climb up the side of this mountain. One goes down, Josh falls, so there's only 2 duos still alive in this game.
No way. Are we going to watch Tex and I Am Enough go with the back-to-back victory royale right now? We'll just have to find out. Clicks is going to fall here from the high ground pressure. Down comes Tex, and Tex is just seemingly feeling himself here, and they find their 8th elimination in another victory there.
Are they the first team to go back to back? We have Peterbot and Poyo with 2 wins already, but they're the first ones to go back to back. They want some of that prize pool. I talked about $1.5 million up for grabs throughout these qualifiers, a chance to get top 2 and claim your spot in the EWC. It's better late than never, but with only 1 game left, we have to throw it on over to Zeke to let us know what things are looking like.
Guys, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. Okay, all right. Yes, Jacob, I believe that is correct. That is the first back-to-back, which is insane. Okay, we saw something happen in EU a little similar, but not quite. Theirs was cooler, I'll admit it. Wow. I cannot believe it. Tex and I am enough. They push height there in like the final few zone. Like we saw height change like 5 times, okay? But for them to push at that perfect moment, oh my gosh, led to them getting 8 eliminations and the victory royale. Guys, they went into this game in 11th place. We're fighting for qualification. We're fighting for prize money. This has been a massive shift in their game. Vivid, they've got to be over the moon right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy resurgence from this team right now to go back to back. They've, pretty much got a large majority of their points just in these last 2 games right now. You can see it right there. They actually were able to, get to a total of 230 points. And Jacob was kind of talking about the timing on this pushing for the high ground. You saw how many of these eliminations from all of the low ground teams kind of got flooded into a single spot on the other side of that hill that kind of dropped off. They just knew that the high ground position was going to be amplified as how good it was because of where everybody else was on the map. Beautifully well timed out of this duo.
That was played just so well. And, we like to say better late than never. But what I want to say to this duo right now is please stick together. You guys have so much potential. And I know that there's going to be more finals coming up. It might just be too little too late to claim your spot in EWC right now. But you guys have just so much more to grow. And I truly think if they stick together, they're easily going to walk away in the top for the next finals we have.
My, oh my. Fortnite do what Fortnite do, and it's cause chaos, be unpredictable, and provide entertainment. Oh my gosh, 1 game left to go. When we come back, we'll begin to prepare ourselves for the last game. We'll take a look at the standings, set it all up, and one last ride before we say goodbye. We'll see you in just a little bit. Fortnite fam, welcome back to the Reload Elite Series. One game left to go before we say goodbye. The top 2 at the end of this game will move on to EWC. Let's begin setting the stage for this final game. So really quickly, if you're just tuning in, you missed out. I Am Enough got himself the Victory Royale alongside Tech. 2 Victory Royales back to back, which is crazy. I wanted to just kind of put this into perspective because I think sometimes it might be difficult to be like, okay, yeah, like they just went up placement, whatever. As we turned our attention to the standings, these guys went from 11th place up to 6th place, okay? Jumping up 5 placements. Now, I know you're thinking like, well, Zeke, yeah, they're not qualifying, so it doesn't matter. It does matter, right? Because if we just look at the prize money, I wanted to break this down. Going from 11th place was $1,000. Up to 6th place is now $4,000. Guys, this is like a lot of money. So this is incredible. Please, if you have time, find these guys, celebrate with them. This is incredible, but the job's not done because now we have to take a look at who's trying to qualify. Friends, Peterbot and Pollo right now, after that last game, have now moved back up into that 2nd place spot. They did get a 6th place with 8 eliminations. Viv, why do we do this? Why do we have to have it like a picture finish? Like, you know, like I'm starting to get stressed out because I'm starting to think like, what if they were to be eliminated outside of placement and that's it, they don't get to qual?
I mean, it's just how we do things over here on NA, man. We love to entertain. We love to go all the way down to the last game. Doesn't matter what format we're playing, but this was really scary because, I mean, yeah, this was actually a very huge game for Peterbot and Pollo. 6th place, 8 eliminations. You know, that kind of performance after dropping out of the top 2 is a huge bounce back for them. Honestly, worked out perfectly for them because Acorn and Bullets had a pretty bad game in regards to how they've been playing, right? That game for Acorn and Bullets was an 18th 1 elimination, so they kind of dropped down. But everybody up in that top 3 right now, Kelly, is still in contention, very close.
They're definitely within contention, and this is reload mode, so I don't know how confident Peterbot and Pollo are, but it's that duo, so they must be confident. But we know what this duo does when they are put into the final game of a tournament series where qualification is up for grabs. I don't think Peterbot and Pollo are necessarily going to be changing up their incredible drop spot, but I do think that we might see them go a little bit more aggressive onto Acorn and Bolts. I don't think they're going to focus on Cold and Rapid, but I do think that there's a possibility that we might see the typical aggressive Peterbot play. And I mean, we saw them go more aggressive in that last game, and look how much better they did.
Guys, we got to turn attention. So obviously, Peterbot, Pollo, great stuff. Cold and Rapid, though, currently lead in 1st place by only 6 points, okay? We wanted to break down their performance over these games on the day because, man, they've had just a fantastic showing for today. Vivid, why don't you talk us through this?
I mean, yeah, it's just going to be all about how well they have done throughout today. We kept talking about it, you know, throughout game number 1 at 12th place, and then after that, it just continuously got better. Game number 7 is not included on this graph, but game number 7 for them was back to that kind of 12th place. So yeah, 2 kind of bad games right there in games number 1 and 7, but everything else has just been utter domination. I mean, so many top 5s for this duo right now, and it's just why they're in 1st place right now. They're just playing so well.
I would love to hear the comms from this duo. Hopefully one day we get to hear from them because I can only imagine what Cold is talking to Rapid here in this moment as a solo player, clutching so many placement points in these final moments here. And I mean, honestly, it just speaks to Rapid there. Even though he went down in 12th place, that still is what is holding them up in 1st place. Just surviving even a little bit will get you those points, and we can see just how close 1st, 2nd, even 3rd is. If Rapid can even just survive a few more placements, that could be the difference maker from 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, let's just start to look at even just this top 5, right? Because if we look at this breakdown, 270 is not that terribly far away from 320 points, right? I mean, any of these top 5 could look to strike up and claim one of those 2 spots. I mean, even just look at the last game we had, Acorn and Bolts in game 7 fell 18th place with a single elimination, right? Peterbot and Pollo, we saw them have middling games, right? 2 games outside of the top 15. Anything can and anything will happen in this last game. I mean, even look at like someone like Clicks and Higgs, right? They are in that 5th place spot. They just had a 3rd place with 3 eliminations. I think the only kind of area they're lacking in is those elim points that are so crucial, but they also had a 2nd place 13 elimination game, right? So this is literally going to come down to the wire. We don't know how this is going to go.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about the eliminations. It's just very, very hard to keep up in the elimination category when you do look at the top two teams. Cold and Rapid picking up 42 eliminations, 44 for Peterbot and Play. The fact that they're kind of entering the 40s and some of our other teams are kind of barely entering the 30s, just where that separation is being found on the leaderboard right now.
Listen, for me, for Higgs and Clicks, to see them playing hip to hip and staying alive, that was the big difference maker for me. Clicks being able to support Higgs as a solo player, or as a duo, I should be saying. That is why we got to see them kind of stick with our 5th place spot now in the leaderboard. So much still to be changing. They have so much more like shifting over their meta if they do want to get that 1st place spot. I don't know if we're going to see a victory royale of them today, but obviously it's Clicks and Higgs. If anyone can come out with a win, it might be them.
Oh man, Fortnite fam, I hope you feel the stress the way I do, because we've got basically 5 teams fighting for 2 spots. And one of those teams is Peterbot and Pollo, and that could very well dictate who else gets to go through and who doesn't. So much on the line here, and all eyes are on EWC. We must qualify. If we can get through now, we don't have to worry about it. There's no more pressure. I'll just take all the pressure. It's fine. It's fine. With that being said, for the last time, lock in, Fortnite fam. This is game number 8 of the Reload Elite Series.
It's the calm before the storm. We're just inching our way towards the final moments here now, Jacob. And what is your prediction? Who's taking it?
Oh, I don't know. Before this tournament, you probably would have heard me say Peterbot and Pollo, but the way it's shaken down, we could see Acorn and Bolts have another phenomenal game. Cold and Rapid could lock it up. We got Shadow and Virgo, who've been flying under the radar, that could really use this to put themselves on the map. I think this is a good opportunity just to say, I love Fortnite. I love everybody competing. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I just can't wait for Game 8.
I know the community loves it as well, as everyone's sitting back at home. The watch party's going on right now. Here it is. It's game number 8.
Guys, don't be sad it's almost over. Be happy it happened, because so am I and Josh and Yamzo. A different approach. Instead of taking 2 different sides, it's Josh going right out of the gates, getting aggressive. First Elim, and already closing it on the Chargu. That's not just an Elim monster. That's an early game wipe.
Fully sent back to the lobby. You cannot lose your duo in those critical moments. And just like that, Yamzo and Josh have had enough. Pollo, Peterbot sticking to the trusty and true strategy of their drop spot. You know, I saw the rumors lingering. People saying, oh, he's of course gonna possibly land on Cold up top. But no, there's no reason to. Why put it all at risk like that? Peterbot knows better than anyone else that all he's got to do is play this game out to the best that he can. And that's just stay active and find his way into that end game.
Yeah, and just kind of put in perspective, even if you're out of point range for first place, there's still thousands upon thousands up for grabs. Clicks and Higgs, they're trying to take matters into their own hands. They jump onto Yuz.
Huge.
Instead of as solos, you see they do it together. Higgs goes and approaches the box. Clicks puts pressure from far away, and that lands them 3 more points. Now they're only 1 point shy of Shadow and Virgo.
Rapid and Cold on the other side, still doing exactly what they do best, and that's finding Aloe Vera in another elimination here. They've managed to just continue to earn themselves consistent points against Jace, Aloe Vera, and anyone else who's kind of stepped into their territory. And this is so critical, right? Opening the gap, widening themselves away from Peterbot, Pollo, Acorn, and Rapid is going to be so important here.
And I feel like Cold played a year with Peterbot and his mindset. If you think Peterbot's just gonna sit down and have a quiet game and maybe be happy qualified, you are crazy. So they're just getting ahead of the curve. You know they're gonna come online. You know they're gonna go for eliminations. So instead of waiting and going Elim for Elim later on in the game, let's say, hey, let's pick off these teams that are around our side of the map, get our early game eliminations, build ourselves a cushion so that way later on we don't have to make the risky plays.
And Rapid is so smart. Notice he chased down Aloe Vera and then cut him back off. He already knows what he's going to come spawning in from. And this is them really trying to min-max the situation at hand here.
But Ager's doing the same thing on the whole north side of the map. Does look like he took down Osid, cleans that one up. That's their first elimination of the game. Ager's closing the distance, getting right on back, but this is This is looking like a literal foot race to try to cross that top 2 finish line. Yuz gets right back into the game, and Rapid goes right back on the chase.
This is crazy. They're like ping-ponging these points back and forth right here. And now they find the conversion onto Yuz. Meanwhile, Peterbot Boyo just silence. Right, the calm right here, but no, this is not good. Boyo's gonna floor you. Peterbot actually has to go running here from sitting curve. Something went clearly wrong just now.
Yeah, they were looking to get aggressive. They thought they had an isolated fight. It just did not work out for them. Luckily for Peterbot, though, he's been on it in terms of disengaging and trying to survive. Rapid gets another elimination onto Aloe. I kind of feel bad for Aloe right now, just kind of getting stuck out there. It's not so much anything Aloe can do either. His teammate needs to create distance. Otherwise, he's just going to keep spawning in the same spot over and over and over. Clicks and Higgs roll up onto Slurpy Swamp. They get the rebooted Poyo down. So now they know Peterbot is somewhere around here and they have a chance to farm.
They are looking for it, and that is the replay from Higgs on how he ends up shutting down Boyo. There it is. Just continue to track him down. Higgs wants nothing to do with this launch pad here. He's going to go on and remove it. It's just one less, opportunity for Boyo or someone to kind of recycle that and get away from them. It seems like they're just trying to condition the area the best that they can at the moment. Ritual, Agers on the other side, keeping up the activity here. Back onto Rezi on a low ground, and of course Paper.
Just a little bit of a risky situation due to the loadout of Ritual. He can't necessarily just push into the box and hope for, a shot or two to land. He does have the Ranger. It does deal a good amount of damage, but you have to be accurate. But he drops in. He's willing to risk it all. He has to try to get that Shockwave, but it almost looked like he dropped the Shockwave right away after picking it up.
Yeah, that was a complete mistake. Just try to switch out for the Flowberry Fizz. Okay, so he wanted to drop it for the Fizz, and that's what he ends up doing. But look, that's actually 2 different duos. For a second there, I was like, oh yeah, this looks a little weird. Like each of y'all are fighting different teams, and maybe they didn't quite recognize that. But either way, we're still back in it. Acorn and Bolt on the other side, just going back to being absolutely passive here. Instead of going for early position deep in the zone, now they're playing this like if it's a top tier FNCS end game rotation right now. Going back to the old trusty dead side rotates here. Just trying to stay out of harm's way seems to be the strategy at the moment.
Yeah, and then kind of looking at that leaderboard, you can see they're 15 points away from that second place spot. A little bit more of an extension in point gap between them in first place. And realistically, if you're a team that's outside of top 2, you don't need to win the tournament to go to the EWC. Right. You just need a top 2 finish. So getting second place would be a win in its own mind, barring anybody and their egos and wanting to get that first place spot. Hey, sometimes you just got to take what you can get. And for Acorn and Bolts, if they could somehow manage to edge out that second place spot, I think they'd be just as happy.
It's actually pretty hilarious. It's like, yo, Peterbot, Boyo, throw caution to the wind. Get out there, have fun. Put it all on the line. And if they get sent back to the lobby, obviously Acorn and Bolts will be able to benefit from that. But here we have it, a very close competition nonetheless, guys. Money is on the line. There's actually so much on the line here besides the, of course, qual placement points. All these qualifiers are going to be, opportunities for the pro players. So every single fight does matter, even here and now. Jumping back to Peterbot and Boyo, though, not a single point earned here. The first fight they took clearly didn't go in their favor. Boyo forced out of there and then sent back several times by the hands of Higgs here. So seems now they're trying to get their footing.
Yeah, chance to refarm at the building next to them. They feel like they've probably done enough in terms of early game skirmishes up until this point to give themselves a chance. They're hoping at least at this point, all they have to do is beat out any team below them in terms of placement points, just kind of match most of them. That would be Acorn, Bolt, Shadow, Virgo, Clicks, and Higgs. The hot streak of Teaks and Enough as well. So even though, the point just gets larger and larger as you go down those placement points, they're still all threats to steal away that spot.
Back on over to Bolts and Acorn here. That rotate paying off dividends right here as they find themselves one of the first to the new zone now. Still plenty of material to work with, and this is more or less the optimal situation they want to be in. The only problem I can see is that Peterbot and Boyo are nearby, and they're kind of on the hunt right now.
Yeah, they're ramping things up little by little as time continues to pass. So we jump on board Teaks. enough. Such a major burst up the ladder. Talk about prize money from $500 split to $4,000 after those back-to-back wins, and they're not done just yet. You go up another placement, an extra 2,000, up an extra 2,000. There's still a ton of money to be won, and you got to think of the flip side for Clicks and Higgs. They're working their way up that leaderboard as well, but for them, it's not about the money. It's about the accolades. It's about going to EWC. It's about getting time to rest in between some of these qualifiers as Higgs keeps the aggression going. That's mopping on the other side that he's trying to break into the box on.
Yeah, definitely. And as we all know, we don't want to see them finish fourth either, right? So there's a lot at play here, and he's kind of playing a little too close to the sun. Cold and Rapid on the other side, though. Jumping back to them, 6 eliminations. What we watched them do just, you know, not even 5 minutes ago was earn themselves so many points, and now they've almost developed somewhat of a cushion here. Higgs and Clickstone on the other hand getting back into the fight, taking out Mopping here. Do keep in mind, Mopping and Regular did manage to find themselves a victory royale in multiple end games here, so that's an excellent set of eliminations there, well earned for Clicks and Higgs. Gonna go in and keep them in a conversation. They are also fighting their way up now. We've seen several teams now get close to 80+ points earned in a singular game, so really does tell you, kind of show you that anything can happen here. 4 elims now for Clicks and Higgs, and they're setting themselves up for a really strong end game now.
Yeah, last game wonders kind of what they're looking for. Cold and Acorn again. Jason Allo, literally all the way from Steamy Stacks to Slurpy Swamps, has Cold and Rapid on their heels. It's like a fly at a picnic. You shoo them away, they just keep on coming back. That's their 7th elimination. Placement points haven't even come in yet, and they've extended their lead almost by 21 points.
Oh my gosh. Rapid going for the edit course here. Really trying to put it on the table, but no. Clicks and Higgs kind of fight back here, pushing back, giving them a little bit of resistance there. Have they just let their guard down? I mean, that would have been kind of interesting to see play out, but all that for nothing as the zone doesn't even end here. It pulls to the opposite side, so a huge commitment now from Rapid. Must be regretting the fact that they just burned through like 300 or 400 metal there.
Just hoping, I'm hoping that elimination they got shortly before that gave enough of that metal. But the most precious of the material, yeah, it's the only thing I'm thinking where you would get that much confidence. But they rotate out. Clicks and Higgs starting to rotate out. Mopping Regular fresh off the respawn from Mopping, beginning to start his rotate on out. Hoping that there is some scraps left behind, whether if it's heals or some sort of a shotgun, because you know how difficult this game can be without a pump in your inventory.
Yeah, most definitely. Meanwhile, Acorn and Bolts haven't really moved an inch. Sitting nice and pretty here. Kind of bunkered up and on top of the launch pad. I didn't even realize they were kind of holding that one right there. So they're ready for a quick escape if they have to. There it is. They're setting it up to go in and bust a move out the side there. And this is the last chance now. This is everyone's last opportunity. This is game number 8 here of the Reload Elite Series for anyone just opening up broadcast here today. Look at Peterbot's loadout.
Mythic, Slurp Juice, full fizz, full shockwaves. And if you guys heard that sound, the timer beeping down, reboots have officially turned off in the last game of the day. So now, if you are down, you are 100% out, forced to watch the rest of the tournament. Side by side with us, welcome to the couch. We love to have you. But now we get to see which teams outlast. We still got Cold, Rapid alive, Peterbot, Koyo, Acorn, and Bolts. Even got Shadow and Virgo, and of course Clicks and Higgs, our top 5.
Top 5 looking strong right now. Setting up for the photo finish here. Clicks Higgs eyeing up the competition up top. There's no threat though. Off they go with the shockwaves. 347 for Cold and Rapid after they were fed an incredible amount of eliminations they picked up in the early game as Steamy Stacks. Peterbot and Boyo not as lucky. They had no one at their drop spot. They had too strong of a starter performance, and pretty much all the competition moved away. It's kind of slowed down ever since.
I like that quick reposition from them. They're not ultimate high ground by any means, but they are elevated 3 layers up, allowing them to get a good vantage point of everybody around as you jump back on over to Higgs. And one thing I noticed, he's carrying that hunting rifle. It's essentially like a pseudo double pump of its own, but if you hit the headshot, it's absolutely disgusting. We're getting all the tricks out. A mythic goldfish in the inventory of Agers, and we know how that can turn things around. It can also one pump those builds. So if they're going for a little bit of piece control, the pre-piece onto anybody around them, that makes it that much easier.
Yeah, and imagine you're inside a metal. It's the last thing you expect is someone to just insta-destroy your build like that, especially without the sound of the shockwave following up behind it. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. Zone pops, far east it goes. Here it is, Rapid, Cold. Pretty much the last ones on the edge of the zone here, forced to go with a big Flowberry Fizz into the shockwave there. Rapid ends up sliding just past some enemy territory, finds himself on the inside. Don't know where Cold landed though. It seems like he might have just missed the mark somehow. This could be start of something bad, but no, Cold finds his way down. Peterbot and Boyo struggling to get through. A lot of pressure coming in here and up. Peterbot goes forced to do an early shockwave there, and they're just starting to gas out. Peterbot says, forget about it. I gotta go for height here. He needs visual. He needs to regain control of the situation here. And that mythic AR, look at the damage it can put out when he pretty much finds the headshot there. It is just devastating.
Yeah, the damage just continues to ramp up as well with each shot hits. Now Drew and Chris are in that line of sight, but Rapid and Cold did find a way to reunite. You said it yourself, a little bit of separation. Cold even got his shields knocked down to nothing, but once they reunite, it's like smooth sailing on the high ground. 323 points, only one elimination, a much slower pace that we've seen, but it's time for them to lock in. They don't want to see that second place spot slip through their fingers.
Well, as we both know, placement points wins games, at least so far. This is the most crucial moment of the tournament here and now. They are, again, very wide away from at least, you know, the amount of points that we know first place is holding at the moment. So there is quite the fight still ahead of us.
Yeah, even got Bolts down below. He's rotating with Acorn, but it's right close by. Clicks and Higgs, another huge threat in this lobby. Rapid and Cold, they don't like that layer, so they instantly waterfall down below the low ground. This is something we've seen in a couple of those previous games where they both found success, but they also got taken down early. And while all this is going down, nobody has had a chance to look up, contest, or put pressure on a Peterbot and Froyo, so nobody is going to know what's going to hit him if he continued to ride freely.
Don't count out Bolts there. Don't count out Acorn. You saw them just finding their groove right now. 3 more eliminations. Rapid, Cold still at 7. Top 12 now. Placement points is going to start getting given out. Peterbot, Boyo wasting one of those med miss already there, showing that they were desperate to stay maximum HP, not looking to let their guard down at all right now. Even Peterbot here just going and capping off, using that Flowberry Fizz, reconnecting back to these old builds here. But this is not enough. They gotta find their immediate competition and somehow get them out of here, or turn this into a huge win. But so does Bolt and Acorn here. I'm thinking this is gonna go down to who can get this victory royale here.
Yeah, and for Bolt and Acorn, they're below 18 points to start this game. You cannot go placement for placement with Peterbot and Poyo because eventually it'll become mathematically impossible for them to catch up. So they got to come online and find eliminations. It's Rapid and Cold. Quick replay of how they're shaking out. This is our first place team. Cold goes down. Rapid's in a struggle, and he's going to fall just as placement points start to set in. This is truly a chance for Acorn, Bolt, Shadow, Virgo, and even Clicks and Higgs to take that second place spot.
And now we're inside the top 10, and somehow Peterbot and Boyo only have a single elimination, but we just said it. It's so much more important to make sure you get those placement points. This could be Acorn's game. This could be Peterbot's game here and now. Bolts, Acorn gets to the front side of the zone. Acorn actually falls short. Bolts gets his third fist off, though. He's going to manage to heal up. Peterbot is taking way too much zone here, and that's a small mistake on his side. So look at this. No perfect play at the moment.
Mathematically, I don't even know what the equation is, but if it's going to happen, it's going to be off the back of Bolts trying to clutch. Peterbot and Poyo as well. They're fighting for the first place spot, but Poyo does go down, and Peter follows. 7th place is all they're going to get. Bolts is giving himself a chance. Another elimination. Siphon keeping him up, but he falls as well. Everybody is down.
I don't know who got second, but it's going to be incredibly close here. And just like that, it's up to everyone else. Curve still in the game though, playing for a dub here. 11 eliminations for Curve and Sin, and it is just chaos here in the end game. The last team standing is down at the bottom, and Curve's up top. It's Lum and Stiff who find themselves at 9 eliminations there, Jacob. Up they go as they try to find themselves this victory royale, but my gosh, what a series it has been. This is gonna be a crazy close finish for everyone. Who's going to the land? We'll find out later, but 10 elims for the dub there. What a game, Jacob.
My heart can't take all this excitement, monster. We saw first go down, second go down, third go down, and in the fashion they did it, it was all within placement points, so I don't even know. My math can't do the math.
Well, we are just gonna have to find out, of course. Game number 8 is now wraps. Zeke, who better than to throw it on over to you?
Guys, I'm freaking out. Hold on. I just need like one. Okay. All right. It's fine. That was an insane back and forth. Okay. This was basically like a 3-way battle. Okay. Holden Rapid, Peterbot Pollo. They were fighting it out. Clicks and Higgs as well. We'll get to that first. I do want to celebrate Stifferoony and Lum FV. Congratulations, you guys. A big victory out here, especially in game number 8. That is incredible. More placement, more prize money to be had. Congratulations to the duo. Man, there's so much to unpack in that game, Vivid. Oh!
I mean, yeah, we were trying to like watch every POV, trying to, you know, pick up on little things, see if we can see how this game was actually going to pan out at the top of the leaderboard. I don't even know. And then amongst all of the chaos, yeah, Lum and Stiff, they're able to pick up the win there in the very final game. Like Zeke mentioned, to go ahead and earn themselves some extra prize money. But Kayla, we all know what we want to see. We want to know what actually happened on the leaderboard.
You know what? I'm just going to keep my words short. Zeke, what we got?
Okay. We'll get the standings in a second. Don't bring them up yet. Okay. So first place went through with 351. Second place was 343.
Ooh.
And there was a 342. A single point separated second and third place. Let's bring up the standings. It is time. Cold and Rapid overall walk away as the #1 duo. But look just the next tier down. Peterbot and Pollo by a single point beat out Acorn and Bolts. I cannot believe what I am seeing, okay? In this last game, Peterbot Pollo get an 8th place with 1 elim. Acorn and Bolts walk away 6th place with 4 elims. Had they gotten a single additional placement, a single elim, it could have been Acorn and Bolts. A single point, Vivid. How does Peterbot and Pollo get away with this?
I mean, they get away with it because they earned it. They played so good throughout the day. Yeah, in the middle there, right? If you're taking a look at games 4, 5, and 6, they were a little bit slow, but because of how well they did in all of the other games, they just had such a lead. Those 3 games effectively did not end up meaning much. And look at this, actually a mistake towards the end, right? Just flying all over the place, trying to kind of make something happen, and maybe a little bit timid there from the duo, picking up 0 eliminations, not finding the refreshes that we're used to seeing them actually find in the end game. But maybe it was all calculated. They knew they just had to stay alive, pick up enough placement points to just barely go ahead and qualify.
And we saw how close it was from Peter to get eliminated actually around zone 8 there. He was getting absolutely sprayed and still was able to shockwave himself directly to Pollo, recover, and then heal back up. I swear, regardless of what is going on with Peterbot, if you put an exotic in that man's hand, anything is possible.
We got to celebrate Cold and Rapid, right? 351 points, beating out Peterbot and Pollo. This is the duo that won on the day. My gosh. I mean, you know, we kind of broke down their stats just a game ago, Vivid. A very consistent day. What I think is really kind of, when you look at the stats, right? So a 7th, a 5th, a 4th, and then 2 seconds back to back. Elim sprinkled throughout, but they never dropped outside of the top 12. They had 3 12th places across their 8 games. And even in those 12 places, 3 elims, 4 elims, and finally 7. This is a terrifying duo. They took consistency to a way that I didn't even know could happen in Reload. Given the chaotic nature of it, they made Reload consistent. How, Vivid? How did they do this?
I mean, they're just so good. That's how. We know Cole, we know Rapid at this point in time. Teaming them up together, it's always going to be scary. And, you know, when you kind of take a look at the standings, right, how close it was between first and third place, 351 points, all the way to 342 points there in that third place. Because of how aggressive they were in that early game, they pretty much got all of their eliminations, 7 of them, in that final game from the early game. I mean, you take away 3 of those eliminations, and all of a sudden they drop straight back down there into the mix. They actually tie for third place, and they would actually lose that tiebreaker. So straight up to how many eliminations they were able to pick up in the early game was the difference maker right there in the final game. But played so phenomenal throughout the day. A well-deserved first place for the duo.
100%. They were so smart in how they handled that early game, especially when you had Bird and Mopping and Jason Allo right next to them contesting each other. It was just free eliminations, and obviously they're so smart, they're so aware of what's going on around them, that anytime it looked like any of those players were fighting each other, they would just jump in third party and get the eliminations for themselves. Cold and Rapid also, like you were saying, you know, they're going for these early aggressions, these early elims, but we watch the chaos of the end game, and they just are never a part of that chaos. It feels like they're playing a completely different game. They are so calm and collected, and I mean, that shows just how much the focus of aggression going from early to late game can really make or break these teams. I love to see Cold and Rapid shifting in the middle of a game from going from aggressive to passive. I love it.
Oh my gosh, again, it's just that adaptation, right? The meta within the meta. They just had it down, and the moment that Peterbot and Pollo kind of fell apart just a little bit, it was enough for them to take that lead and hold it. My gosh. Fortnite fam, we have a graphic lined up to see who all has qualified through Qualifier 1 to EWC. There is still a couple here that are marked TBD, but my gosh, take a look at your first set of qualifiers. Dude, if I'm looking at this graphic, I'm a little scared, right? Like, you start to look at some of these names and you think, dude, I've got to compete against you on LAN later on in EWC. I better make sure I am prepared, because this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we just see so many familiar names here, Kelly. I mean, across every single region, it's incredible to see how good these Fortnite players are adapting, right? Like OC, we see Alex in the mix, Asia, we see Coyote. Like, it's just, we're just so used to seeing all of these names.
No, seriously, Gon, Knight, Fahad, Shari, these are all the top players from the respective region. Also, we were talking about how close this was. OCE literally came down to a tiebreaker for first place.
Wow.
I love reload mode. It really just makes it so much more competitive. And we get to see a lot of our veterans, but also some new names also get the shining light. I love this, Zeke. Let's get more reload in there.
We will, Kelly. In the very near future, we'll be back for Qualifier 2 out of this competition. My gosh, the Reload Elite Series has not disappointed. Reload, super fun. We hope you guys at home have had a fantastic time watching this. Before we say goodbye, Vivid, Kelly, I want to give you guys the floor. What do you want to say?
I absolutely loved Qualifier 1. Cannot wait until the other 3 qualifiers. Couple weeks away from Qualifier number 2. Congratulations to Cold and Rapid and Peterbot and Polly. No surprise that those are the duos coming out top. Had a ton of fun today with, of course, my best friends and the Fortnite fan.
I mean, just exactly what Vivid said. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to the players for making this so entertaining, and to everyone that makes Fortnite what it is. I mean, we're here because of you guys. Thank you so much, and cannot wait for the next Reload Elite Series finals.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Fortnite fam. Until Qualifier 2, we love you. Keep yourself safe, and we'll see you on that battle bus. Beep, beep.